All right, guys, we are live. Welcome to Capital Cosmos Live. Uranium finally breaks $100. You read that right. Just a couple hours ago, we're going live to discuss it. As always, nothing on this stream, this video is to be taken as financial advice. Please do your own due diligence. It's your money, your responsibility. And this is a live stream. So if you are watching the recorded version, go ahead and fast forward 5 to 10 minutes and we'll get started shortly. I'm going to post the link on X and let more people come on in. But this is big news. Uranium just all of a sudden surged from $97, I believe, all the way up to $100 traded just a couple hours ago. We're going to get into the charts. We're going to look at some of these Aussie stocks, how they're performing. They're looking quite well, I must say. So we'll look at the ASX stocks. We'll look at URNM. Massive breakout there, it seems, as well. So lots of stuff to dig into. As always, guys, if you enjoy this channel, if you enjoy this content, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can buy me a coffee in the link down below. If you want to get an edge in this uranium space, in this uranium bull market, be sure to check out Justin Hune's Uranium Insider. We are affiliates, disclaimer. Be sure to use the affiliate link down below if you do sign up, though. I would really appreciate it. So, with that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and post a link on X, and I will get started in just a few minutes. All right, we got E-Man in the house. E-Man, thanks for coming on. Yeah, Amir Adnani was the one to break the news. Exciting stuff, I must say. How you doing, E-Man? So I'm going to go ahead and post the link shortly. But, tell me, guys, did this come as a shock to you as much as it did to me? I was expecting $100 uranium, just not today. Maybe in a couple weeks from today, but this thing just came out of nowhere. Pleasant surprise, I must say. All right. Let's go ahead and post this link. Okay. You guys having a good day? I know my uranium investors are having a good day. Yeah, E-Man's doing great. Come on in, guys. We'll get started in just a bit. FYI, also give me a 1 if my feed is coming in crystal clear, whether that be audio and the stream in general. Everything good? Give me a 1 if everything's good. Yeah, it's going to be a wild night at the ASX tonight. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to pull up my screen here, get things ready. All right. So TradingView still hasn't updated their spot price, the uranium spot price. But it did trade over 100. It's been confirmed. It's been confirmed through various credible sources. Credible sources, just believe me. Thanks for coming in, guys. We'll get started in just a sec. All right, so it seems like audio's coming in. Stream is coming in just fine. Yeah, Doug Hunks. Doug says he saw it at $96 today. Yeah, I mean, same here. I mean, the last thing I remember was like $96, $97 maybe. And then all of a sudden, it just jumped. Took a huge leap up to $100. A monumental day in uranium investing. We haven't had $100 uranium in 17 years. It's been a long, long time. I know there's a few of you out there who've been holding since that long. Hopefully, you get your chance to sell soon. Once our uranium stocks go ahead and rocket ship upward. So things are looking good. Yesterday, or not yesterday, the day before yesterday, we remember we were looking at the URNM chart, and we were just right on the cusp of breaking out. We were sitting literally on resistance. URNM today is telling a much different story. It seems like we started the early stages of breaking out. Now, the $100 breakout in spot price occurred after the market closed. So it couldn't be impacted, or rather the miners couldn't have been impacted by the huge spot price move. We got B Woo in the house. Always good to see you, B Woo. Big Mike is in the house too. Yeah, Big Mike. Uranium stocks are up very mildly, moderately, and that's because the spot price closed or traded above $100 after the U.S. markets closed, the U.S. and Canadian markets. We do have some price action going on in the ASX. So we'll take a look at that in just a moment. We'll let some more people come on in. How long has it been? It's been 6 minutes. I think I'm going to go ahead and get started, guys. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. So let's go ahead and dig into the charts. And let's get my chat window here so I can see your chats. And all right, I think we're good. All right. Uranium spot price. Again, this has not been updated. This is breaking news. Just in the past hour or two, we recently broke up above $100. Now, this was first broken by Amir Adnani. Amir is the CEO of UEC, Uranium Energy Corp. And he says $100 spot uranium, $100 per pound, according to uranium markets, and it's been verified across a litany of other credible sources. So this isn't just some rando on the internet. This is a CEO of a major uranium company. And so UX1 still has it at 97.45. So we'll see. This thing should update very shortly, or later, or maybe tomorrow. Actually, they're kind of slow with their reporting. But anyways, you can clearly see this thing is launching. There's no looking back. No looking back. This is the weekly candlestick version of the chart, and as you can see, last week, we had a very mild green candlestick. The week before it, also very mild. You could barely see it. The week before it, you had a pretty strong candlestick. This week, we still haven't finished the week. We still haven't closed out the week. The week is only 80% complete. And nonetheless, we had this big green candlestick. I don't think we've had as big of a green candlestick ever, really. Let's see here. This goes from what, 92 to... what is it? It's about a $5 move in the week so far. Have we had a big move like that before? At least in recent months. Doesn't seem like it. As I look through this chart here, and again, the week is still not over. And the ASX stocks are beginning to rumble. Drop me a comment, guys. We can look through any of these ASX stocks. Drop any ASX stock you want me to pull up in the chat here. Okay, we got John in the house. John says disbelief that this is happening. Been in since 2018. Well, hey, you actually got in at the bottom. That's actually a pretty good time. The ideal time would be, March of 2020, I would say. But 2018, you're still coming off that 2016 bottom. And depending on what you invested in, I don't know exactly what your portfolio looks like. You've been riding uranium on up higher for quite some time. If you look at all the way back, let's just retrace back our journey here, guys. You look at how high we were back in 2007. Doesn't seem that high anymore, right? We're closing in on that $148 price tag. And the uranium market bottomed all the way out in 2016. We've been in a uranium bull market for almost 8 years. So, John, you bought in somewhere around here probably when uranium was $20 a pound, and now you're I mean, you've essentially held on. I mean, I don't know if you bought the. I don't think there was. Sput wasn't around back then. I think it was Yellow Cake or some other vehicle. Before Sput, whatever was around. But huge 5-bagger moves in uranium over the course of the last 8 years. Very exciting stuff. On a silver platter thinks this entire thing is overhyped. Hey, anything is possible, my friend. Anything is possible. But I'm going to get into why I think this might be the real deal. Of course, everything, with all of these projections and forecasts and, these trades, there are no certainties. I can't come up here and say 100% certain uranium is going to go up to XYZ tomorrow, the next couple days, next week, next month, etc. But what I can say is that if I were a betting man, I'd give slightly higher than 50% chance that this is the real deal when it comes to our uranium breakout. And I'll get into it in just a second. E-Man says, not even hyped outside the uranium community. Exactly. This is still very much consolidated within our cult or within our community, our little, outside of what you would see in, let's say, the crypto space, the people that invest in like the NASDAQ, etc. They're still vastly unaware of what's happening in uranium. Sure, I mean, you had a few clips on CNBC, I believe, the last few days. But those have happened before. We've looked at the institutional inflow into the ETFs like URA, Uranium, etc. And it's really just institutional money coming in. Retail really hasn't caught on to this trade. Yeah, macro headwinds could be a real issue as well. If we go into, if there's like a big crash that occurs, but more people have been wrong about crashes than right. More money has been lost trying to time crashes than right. And if you look at through the course of history, there's more time spent in a bull market, in the general bull market, than there is in a bear market. I'm not talking about uranium. I'm just talking about the general stock market. All right, let's go ahead and look at Uranium for today. Here is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to actually move things back to a daily candlestick and check out Uranium. So again, we have this 2-year resistance line from around the same time as emanating from the last highs in 2021. And we broke through that yesterday, but it kind of gave signs that the buyers were being overpowered by the sellers. Not quite a reverse hammer candlestick. The wick isn't long enough, but still. But today, look at this reversal. I also wouldn't call this, this is a very mild hammer candlestick. You really want the wick to be a little longer to be a hammer candlestick. But nonetheless, we closed out at $52.30. The peak in, call it November of 2021, you were sitting at 51.69. So we have broken through that peak. There you go, guys. Boom. Broken through that last high of November 2020. That pesky high that has eluded us for 2 whole years. Boom. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya. Take care, brush your hair. 2021 highs. Adios. All right, let's see here. So Silver Platter wants to clarify his statement. So he's just risk off stack placing. Yeah, that is true. There are macro headwinds that we have to contend with. 9 of possible 100 U investors on this stream. Wait, do we have 100 people on the stream? No, it's not. Yeah, we're at 37. But yeah. Oh, I get it. You mean 100 in the entire world? Got it. Yeah, we're a very small tribe here. It's gonna get bigger though. Hope you guys can make room for some new young blood coming in, because I think what's going to happen is, once we pass through all the different phases of a bull market, including the media phase, the attention phase, the euphoria phase, all the phases that go through retail adoption or retail money inflows, you're going to have a lot more people coming in who know very much less than you do on this stuff. And it's going to be wild. I mean, this is just the beginning. The fact that we've already broken through without a peep, really, aside, it's very telling. All right, let's look at URNM versus the uranium spot price. But I mean, look at this thing. I mean, before we move on to that, look at these big green candlesticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the last 6 days have been big green candlesticks. Simply phenomenal. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. So this is URNM priced in uranium spot. And the miners have been essentially getting beat up relative to the metal. We had essentially retraced all the way back down to, let's call it December 2020 levels before the big bull market even precipitated. And we broke down below the support line, and now we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive days of consecutive green days where the miners have outperformed the metal. So this is very good. We want the miners to outperform the metal. And it's looking like we're, this support line essentially became resistance. And so our job now, we're sitting almost right at that support line. We want to break through that support line. When we break through that support line, or that resistance line for that matter, or actually, you could actually extend this further down. I could make the case now and say, you know what? This long-term trend line here, going all the way back to 2021, we touched it, this resistance line, and we broke through it. Now, the next layer of, the next level on up is this support line, which is now resistance. I think that'll be broken in the next, maybe, I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow, but in the next several days. The way momentum has been shaping up. Yeah, I mean, E-Man says even the red candle was an outside candle. Exactly. So I mean, I think you're referring to this one here. Yeah. So I mean, we had all these green days, 5 green days, and with the exception of one red candlestick, but even that red candlestick was on the upside. Was an update. So very good point there. I want to take a look at URNJ. URNJ, boom, big hammer candlestick. That's the way we want it. That's the way we want it to look like. Now, if you look at URNM, it's got a more moderate hammer candlestick. The wick isn't that, long. But if you look at URNJ, that's a hammer candlestick, and that's a sign of a reversal to the upside. That essentially tells you the sellers brought it all the way down here to this level, but it was just gobbled up by the buyers. Gobbled all the way up here. Now, we did have a reverse hammer pattern the day before. But then when you have a consecutive reversal the day after, this hammer pattern essentially cancels out the preceding hammer pattern. Does that make sense? So URNJ, despite its short tenure so far, sitting right on resistance, right? I can right on its, boom, there it is. It's almost there. Things are happening. Let's look at URNJ priced in URNM. Same story as before. We want the more speculative names to begin outperforming the majors, or for lack of a better term. I know there really aren't that many majors in uranium, aside from Cameco and Kazatomprom, until let's extend next gen. That's pretty much it. But anywho, URNJ has been underperforming URNM which is what you would see in not in a bull market, but in recent days. In recent days, it looks like it's pretty much bottomed out. Again, we don't have that much data with this ETF. So we hit the support line. Looks like we've based out. Could be getting ready for a move up on higher, which would indicate further confirmation that this uranium breakout is for real. So far, to kind of recap here, from a spot price POV, I mean, this thing is continuing to break out. I mean, there's no stoppage when it comes to this momentum. If you put, you juxtapose the Ichimoku cloud, I mean, look how far up we are above the clouds here at this level. We're all the way up here at 90. Actually, it's $100. This still hasn't updated. But the clouds are all the way down here at this $54 level, which means that we have a ton of momentum on our side. Ton of momentum. And then point two is that the miners have also broken out or have begun their breakout. The Uranium ETF finally breaking out of this pesky resistance line here. Each one of these humps, I kind of looked at them like a boss in a video game. This is your first boss, your second boss, your third boss, and this is the final boss, so to speak. Actually, no, that's not even the final boss. The final boss is $148 uranium. But in this localized view, that's how I kind of look at it. Did we beat the final boss here? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're watching the recorded version. If you're watching the live version right now, give me a 1 in the chat if you think this breakout is for real in the miners. I.e., we've been seeing a breakout in the metal for quite some time. Do you think that this is the real deal when it comes to the equities? Give me a 1 in the chat if you think that's going to be the case. Give me a 2 otherwise. On a silver platter says spot price curve will look different from last bull. This parabolic move is happening too quick in this cycle. So, what do you guys think? We've got a huge gap to fill. We've already looked at URNM versus UX1, but let's take a different look of it. So let's look at URNM doesn't go all the way back that far. So we've got to look at URA, and let's look at URA divided by the uranium spot price. And god dang, look at how, sitting at an all-time low, bounced off it. The miners are so cheap. If this is the real deal, the real breakout, the miners are going to fly just to catch back up to this level here. This level all the way up here. Okay? Got a lot of room to make up for. This huge gap. 567% move. That's just shy of a 7x. Compared to, assuming that the metal stays constant, which it won't. I don't know. Nothing is financial advice in this video, but I don't think it will. On the silver platter, only one dumping cold water on this stream, man. You don't think this is the real deal? Giving me a 2. All right, Alfred thinks it's the real deal. Fahad thinks it's the real deal. E-Man says spot price is not showing off market deals. That's what's happening. Big Mike says there's an actual supply deficit in this cycle. Uranium was in a surplus. Exactly. I don't have the supply demand charts ready for me. But if you look at the supply demand charts long term and forecast it into the next 10, 20 years, you'll realize that in the 07 bull market, the 04, I want to say 04 to 07, we were not in a supply demand deficit as we are today. And as we are currently expanding further and further out, that supply demand deficit. Hey, no worries, Silver Platter. You're good, man. I'm just giving you a hard time. But yeah. So you've got the miners here. Let's go ahead and look at some ASX stocks. Drop me some ASX stocks you guys want to look at. I'm going to start things off with, let's do Bannerman. Let's see how ASX is popping off. So, okay, so this is the weekly candlestick. I want to see the daily. See the daily. Boom! Bannerman up 4.69%. Let's take a read on this candlestick. Okay, so today we opened up significantly. We opened up higher than we closed yesterday, and then we continued to move on up. We reached a certain high, but it looks like we are in the process of retracing back down. Let's actually look at the minute by minute candlesticks. All right, so this is what happened today. All right, so yeah, so this is the open right here. We broke on up, but then we had two big red candlesticks. Sign of a slowdown in momentum, but nonetheless, I mean, 4.69%. It's nothing to scoff at. Okay, let's look at Paladin. Silver Platter wants to look at Paladin. Paladin, that's a big market cap. Okay, so Paladin, currently up 4.64% as well. So it's very similar to Bannerman. All right, so we opened up today, saw a huge run up to $1.27. Okay, so what is that? So let's close all the way down here yesterday. So I saw an 8% move versus the closing price yesterday. And now we're back down to this 4.64% level. Let's actually take a look at... Okay, I've already got my... What am I doing? Go back to the daily candlestick. So in the case of Paladin, I mean, Paladin's already broken out, actually. I mean, this is what we're talking about. This is what me and Patrick talked about a few days back. The reason why you haven't really seen much of a breakout in a lot of these miners is because a lot of the money is just being flooded into the bigger cap stocks, including Paladin and like CCJ, etc. So, I mean, Paladin, it's already gone through its breakout. Naturally, the next point of capital inflow should be the developers. Not all of them. This is where really good stock picking comes in. Check out Justin Hune's Uranium Insider to get the best stock picks out there. He's outperformed the URA ETF by a significant margin. Link to that is in my description below. Be sure to click the affiliate link down below to sign up. Anyways, but yeah, Paladin looks great. What else do we got here? SLX. Let's look at SLX. Hold on. Did I get the right one? Okay, yeah, Silix Systems. Okay. SLX today, also up similarly 3%. So yeah, I mean, it looks like these stocks are back to the minute. Yeah, I mean, so it looks like these stocks had a huge initial rally, and now they're kind of cooling off, which is to be expected. Momentum can't be used forever. I mean, these things might continue to, it's not uncommon. I've seen this happen before where the equities open super strong and then they correct midday, and then towards the end of the day they go back to rallying again. I mean, this is the typical nature of these uranium equities. Let's see. How much data do we have on SLX? Yeah, not much. It's a new company. Or actually, no, we do actually. I don't know much about SLX. Let's see. Okay, we've got a lot of data. All right. E-Man says Denizen. Let's look at Denizen. Well, Denizen isn't an ASX stock, E-Man. Let's keep it focused on ASX stocks because those are the ones actually live right now. Okay, John says Lotus. Okay, Lotus. Here's a long-term view of Lotus. Lots of share dilution, as you can tell. It's priced all the way up here near $6. Now it's 33 cents. Today, let's go ahead and shift over to the daily candlestick. Up 7%. Great job, Lotus. Let's take a look at the Ichimoku cloud. Yep, we got that momentum on our side. Boom. You know, we can also look at Lotus. See how Lotus compares to URA. See if it's outpacing the general miners ETF. And let's see. Turn off the clouds for a second. Generally speaking, it's been underperforming the URA ETF. So you can see here, looks like it's in the midst of a breakout. Let's go to log scale. And yeah, I mean, boom, breaking out. Lotus is breaking out relative to URA. This is another good sign because your smaller cap Lotus. I mean, what's the market cap on Lotus, by the way? I don't know offhand. Lotus. Let's go back to the single view. Market cap 560 million. Okay, I mean, not too small, but you know, it's not a major cap stock. What else we got here? On a silver platter, BOE. Yeah, sorry guys. I'm gonna try and power through these really fast. So just make sure we get everyone's ASX stocks looked at. All right, BOE 6.19%. Oh, 6.29%. Changed live. Up 6.29% right now. Let's take a look at the minute by minute chart. And yeah, I mean, we shot all the way up. And now it's kind of consolidating. So great news for these ASX stocks. I mean, in general, it seems like it's up. You know, these ASX stocks are up between 4 to 6%. You compare them to the URNM stocks, which are up only collectively. URNM's only up 2.95%. URNJ is up 1.39%. So URNJ actually underperformed URNM today. But the Aussie stocks have outperformed both ETFs. And again, keep in mind, the market closed before we got news of this $100 price spike. All right, what else we got? Boss Energy. Oh yeah, we have Boss Energy up now. Deep Yellow. Let's look at DYL. Deep Yellow currently up 6%. It too had a huge surge up. See here, we were closed at $1.24, I want to say, and we surged all the way up to $1.33. That's a 7.27% move, and things have kind of slowed down for a bit, which is normal. You know, these things rocket ship on higher right out of the gate, but you know, momentum eventually slows down. Nothing has infinite momentum. Let's see here. Let's pull up the cloud again. We still got a lot of good momentum here. Still above the clouds with Deep Yellow. Deep Yellow is almost $1 billion market cap company. Traded in Aussie dollars. All right, what else we got here? Michael says WSTRF. I don't know offhand what exactly that is. I don't know if you're seeing uranium stock. So let's see. Western Uranium and Vanadium Corp. All right, so this is a very small microcap. This is a $59 million market cap uranium miner. And it's only been around for 5 years, it seems, 6 years. Starting to make some moves up on higher. We're above the Ichimoku cloud, which means we've got some solid momentum behind us. Let's turn this off for a second, and let's go ahead and look at the daily candlestick. Okay, so interesting. So it seems like we're down. Okay, so we're down 2.9% so far on the day for WSTRF, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, it's because it's a smaller cap company, and you know it has that slingshot like move to it because it's a smaller cap company, has that potential energy to really outperform some of the larger caps. So not all of these are always successful. You know, you've got to be very shrewd. You've got to be very informed with these smaller cap companies. Make sure that you really understand them through and through, or you could just diversify with a basket of them. So then that way, you know, you're not overly stretched, not overly weighed in just in a what is it? A high risk investment. All right, Michael says for size. Okay, I'm gonna take. This is gonna be the last. It's gonna be the last Aussie stock I'm gonna look at. I don't know. Maybe I'll look at a couple more actually. Let's pull that up. FOS YF for Cis Metals. How is that doing? Okay, up 5.28%. Again, look at this big green candlestick. The day has just started. The ASX has been open for about an hour now, FYI. It's been open for about an hour, up 5.5%, almost 5.5%. Let's go ahead and look at the minute by minute. Where did we open here? I think, not quite sure where we opened, but you can tell. I mean, we moved up on higher, slowed down for a bit, resumed our journey up, and now we're kind of slowing down a bit even more. This is kind of the overarching theme. The overarching theme is that the Aussie stocks are outperforming the North American companies from earlier today. And of course, this is because you're seeing the news being priced in to these equities of $100 uranium. It's a special number. Really, I mean, there's really not much difference between a $99 uranium spot price and a $100 uranium spot price, but it's just that milestone that's important to people there. I mean, we did have a pretty sharp rise out of nowhere. If you didn't catch the earlier portion of the stream today, we were just talking about how, looked at this thing, it was $96, 1 minute, you turn around, come back half an hour later, and boom, $100. Really cool stuff. All right, LAM. Look at LAM. All right, LAM, this is a $180 million market cap company on the 1 minute. Looks like this thing's about to move on up again. Looks like we consolidated around this 77 to 80 cent zone. And yeah, looks like momentum might drive us even further up. This is on the minute by minute candlestick. Let's go ahead and look at the daily candlestick. Okay. Yeah. Let's pull it up. Pull up all of it. We're still below the 07 highs. So there's that. So this is Laramide. Okay, Laramide is a TSX stock. It's up 2.5%. Yeah, let's go ahead and see if are there any other ASX stocks out there? Elevate. Elevate, is that on the ASX? Yep, I believe it is. Elevate's on the ASX, up 5.7%. Elevate is a $157 million market cap company. Let's go ahead and move over to the daily candlesticks. All right, so today, boom, shot all the way up, and now kind of consolidating back down. Elevate's been with us for quite some time, all the way back to 1992. And again, this is a log scale. So if I go back to a linear scale, boom, makes a world of difference, doesn't it? So this is why we look at log scale, because when you have these exponential rises and declines, you want to add in that logarithmic transformation. So it makes the chart more readable. All right, so yeah, I mean, 55 cents today. At the peak here is at $52. Doesn't mean we'll retrace back to that $52 price tag. I don't know, it might, but the idea is, you had a lot of share dilution coming up here. And one thing to also make note of is we're still well below the 2021 highs up here, or 2022 highs in this case. So another case of some of the smaller caps underperforming the larger caps. A lot of the larger caps that we just looked at have broken through, actually, or on the verge of breaking through, whereas these smaller cap companies, not so much. All right. Okay, so I think that's it on the ASX front. I want to look at uranium. So I want to make another case for uranium. Let's go back to the uranium spot price. Okay, this thing still hasn't updated. It's still at $97.45. It should be at $100, but let's ignore that for now. Let's pretend it's $100. And let's look at uranium from a couple different lenses. Let's look at uranium priced in gold. Because uranium priced in dollars, the dollar is, can just be printed out of thin air. But let's look at uranium priced in gold and see where we're at. Now, this is on a log scale, so it kind of diminishes the magnitude of where we are today. When you go back to a linear scale, you see the magnitude of how far off we are to, 2007 highs. Okay, so, you draw a retracement back to those levels. To get back to those $150 levels, priced in gold, you would need a 4.5x move. A 4.5x move. Now, I want you to keep that in mind. And I'm going to add in another pane here. I'm going to say uranium priced in the US CPI. Again, we're controlling for inflation here. Now, this is another way of controlling for inflation. You can control for inflation by accounting for the US CPI, the gold price, and the M2 money supplies we'll showcase in just a bit. Okay, so let's look at, why is it not showing up? New pane, all right. Okay, so we've got uranium priced in, what's it called, the CPI at the bottom, and uranium priced in gold at the top. Now, if I draw that same line going all the way up here, priced in the CPI, that would be a doubling of where we're at today. So essentially, $200 uranium. Priced in gold, you would need a 4.5x move. So $450 uranium. Could have sworn we had 450%, didn't we? Yeah, okay, 4.5x. Let's look at uranium priced in M2 money supply. Let's index this. Okay, so we're indexed at 25.75. The high here was $112. To get back to these old highs here, doesn't let me. Sorry, I'm gonna have to add in a huge coefficient because M2 money supply is such a huge denominator. It just makes everything zero. All right, so let's go back to regular. And let's look at this thing again. Okay, so similar numbers to gold. So 338%. Gold was 350%. CPI was, what's it called? 111%, something like that. Actually, I want to pull up CPI one more time. US CPI. Okay, yeah, it is 100%. Okay. So far, we've got $200 and somewhere between $200 to $450, depending on what you price it in. If you price uranium in the SPX, the S&P 500, you would need, holding the SPX constant, that's a 387% move. That's almost a 4x move. No, sorry, that is a 4x move. That's almost a 5-bagger move. So, you're looking at $487 uranium. So, to recap, if you price uranium in the SPX to retrace back to those highs, $487 uranium. You price it in gold, $450 uranium. If you price it in US CPI, a little over $200 uranium. If you price it in M2 money supply, about $430 uranium. So essentially, in all of these different ratios that we looked at, the lower bound is $200, but you see this $400, $450, $480 upper bound showing up 3 times. So what does that tell us? So here's the question I want to pose to you. Which ratio that I just went over do you think most accurately depicts the valuation of uranium? I.e., will it be, is it pricing it in the SPX? Is it pricing it in gold? Is it pricing it in the CPI because you're controlling for inflation directly there? Is it pricing it in M2 money supply because you're controlling for all the added liquidity in the market directly? What do you guys think? I'm gonna read some of these chats while I'm waiting. So let's see. We got Levon here. Thanks for this. What is your opinion on energy fuels? UUU has been lagging, I'm assuming. Yeah, energy fuels had if I remember correctly, it had a pretty meteoric rise a week or two ago, but it's been kind of selling off lately. I haven't checked any energy fuels in quite some time. Let's look at energy fuels for a second. I know it's an American company, but I'll make an exception. It's a $100 uranium day. 719. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that goes without saying, guys. It's if you're not going to put in the work in analyzing these uranium companies to death, which a lot of you do, by the way, a lot of you guys analyze this stuff way more than I do. I mainly just like to look at the charts. But with UUU, you can clearly see we're consolidating. We broke out of this consolidation pattern, but there's some. Let's see what we got. Boom. So yeah, we broke down below the support line. This is not good, but it looks like we are retesting back up now. Let's look at the Ichimoku cloud. Yeah, we've got some headwinds against us with UUU. I think UUU, I think we will fail the retest on this support line. Meaning that we don't continue on down, we resume our journey back up, but that UUU might just underperform some of its members in its cohort. On a silver platter says he likes pricing uranium versus the miners. Yeah, that's a good point as well. The problem is the miners, the best thing you've got with the miners is URA, and URA only goes back to 2011. 2011, you're missing a big chunk of that 2006, 2007 bull market. All right, so what else we got here? Yeah, UUU does rare earths as well as vanadium. So that side, I don't keep up with too much fundamental analysis. I'm mainly a charts guy. So it could be something to do with their rare earths and vanadium projects. All right, let's do another thing, actually. This gave me an idea. Let's look at uranium spot price. Pull that back up. And let's look. I'm going to simplify this, make it a line. And then I'm going to add in URA on the same scale. Okay. Now take a look at this, guys. Look at this huge gap between. So you've got URA here in orange, and you've got the uranium spot price here in yellow. Look at that huge gap between the two. What do you guys think? Is that gap going to be filled? Give me a 1 if you think that gap is going to be filled soon. I mean, we're seeing it in URNM. We haven't looked at URA actually. I mean, URA is very much similar to URNM, but let's go ahead and pull up URA by itself. Let's go back to a daily candlestick. Okay. So URA. All right, so let's go back to the daily candlestick. Boom. So very much a similar pattern to URNM, although slightly under high. And that could just be because URA is not a pure uranium play. But it is the most liquid ETF for hedge funds, etc. Hey, Calvin. Thanks, man. Calvin says he loves the channel. I appreciate it, man. Go ahead and give it a like and subscribe. Smash that like button if you haven't done so already. URNM. I think, we've dissected this thing quite a number of ways. I'm trying to think, what else could we do? What else could we do? Well, you guys want to talk about Bitcoin? You want to talk about the Bitcoin ETF? No, I know you guys don't want to talk about Bitcoin right now. You want to talk about uranium, $100 uranium. Not $46,000 Bitcoin or whatever it is. Let's look at CCJ. CCJ has been the leader. Damn, look at CCJ. April 2022 high. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya. Take care, brush your hair. Boom. 44% from the highs. CCJ has already moved. You're starting to see companies of the ilk of, let's say, next gen, which is so CCJ is a $20 billion market cap. To a much lesser extent, next gen, which is a $3.6 billion market cap, has also begun to make new all-time highs. Next gen's only been around since 2014, so this is an all-time high for next gen. So capital is now beginning to flow in from the metal. It's made its way into CCJ, the big majors, and now it's kind of making its way down to the likes of next gen. And eventually it'll make its way down to the developers and select explorers. On a Silver Platter says, could compare valuations of companies back in 2006 versus now when uranium hit $100. Actually, I can. Hold on, give me a second. Let me pull up the page really quick. Let's see. So while I'm doing that, how much are you guys investing in uranium, by the way? Like a percentage-wise? Like, is it 20%, 30% of your portfolio? Percent allocation of uranium is while I'm pulling this up. Okay, so I'm pulling up all the market caps. Uranium market cap. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at this. Damn, 100%? I mean, I've got to say, I can see why a lot of you guys are obsessed with uranium. If I was invested 100% into this thing, I'd be very obsessed with this stuff. But I've got a mixed bag. Uranium is my largest holding, but it's not anywhere near 100%. I'll tell you that. And that's just for my own psychology, you know. I don't like having too many eggs in one basket. I know when I interviewed Jim Rogers, if you haven't seen that interview, I recommend you go watch it. But he said, you know, the way that he made money and the way that a lot of these rich guys make money that he rubs elbows with is that they invest in one or two things. He said one thing, but they know it like the back of their hand. But I caution people against that because the chances are you're not going to be Jim Rogers. Jim Rogers is in a class in and of his own. But that's what he told me. I'm not telling you to do this. It's not financial advice, but according to Jim Rogers, if you really want to get rich, you invest in one thing, but you better damn well know that one thing like the back of your hand. Okay, Bo says 45% invested. Michael, 60%. Okay, we have. So I pulled up let me actually zoom this in so you guys can see it better. All right. So this is a listing of all of the market caps of the top, I guess, 33 uranium companies. I don't know. Are there more than 33 uranium companies? I'm not sure. But these are the top 33. And they account for about $61 billion. Okay? Now, this naturally raises the question, well, okay, what was the market cap at the peak of the last bull market? It was about $150 billion. So about a 2.5, we're off of that figure by about 2.5x. So does that mean that, we've only got about a 2-bagger, a 3-bagger left in these uranium stocks? Now think about this. Think about what we just looked at just a few moments ago. We looked at the uranium price priced in gold. We looked at it priced in the S&P. We looked at it priced in M2 money supply. We looked at it priced in CPI. Basically, these are all things to account for inflation. These are all things to account for increased liquidity and increased money supply, essentially. And with a lot of these things, this makes it multiplicative. What I mean by that is, if you say, okay, well, assuming we get back to $150 levels of uranium, that would be equivalent to $400 uranium if you're pricing it in M2 money supply, or if you're pricing it in gold. It's actually $450 uranium, but let's just say $400, just to keep it clean. Okay? So you would essentially need a 4x move in the uranium price to get back to those levels. And so to get back, essentially, you would multiply that 4x times the 2.5x, right? And that gives you something. That gives you something along the lines of a 10x, a little more than a 10x. Actually, no, a 10x exactly. Yeah, sorry. But then you say to yourself, okay, so uranium is underpriced relative to gold by about a factor of 4. It's underpriced by a factor of 4 relative to M2 money supply. It's underpriced relative to the general stock market by a factor of 4 as well. So I think $400 uranium is probably where I would look at, because that's the same ballpark you have with the S&P when you price it in gold and when you price it in M2 money supply. The only outlier is the US CPI. That's where you could be wrong. It could be as little as $200. So I think the range is $200 to $400. But then you come back to realize, I'm going to pull up charting, pull up URA divided by uranium spot. And how far off are we with the equities versus the metal? So we're up by a factor of 6, okay? So let's do the math here. We'd need a 6x in the miners to retrace back up to the 07 highs relative to the metal, okay? Actually, it's a 7x because let's say 7x, okay? So 7x in our miners, not bad. Now, take into account that the uranium price is off by a factor of 4 when you price it across all these various components that we just went over. 4 times 7, 28. This is where it gets kind of crazy. Like I feel kind of embarrassed actually putting it out there. 28x. But if you look at it from a market cap point of view, you get a little bit more measured projections. So you want to say, okay, we're at 61 billion today. and we want to get back to that $150 billion level at the, to make it put us in parity with the last bull market. So that's about a 2.5x. But then hold on, we've tripled the money supply in the last, 17 years, since 07. So that means you've got to triple your 2x, because $150 billion today isn't worth damn near as much as $150 billion in 07. So what's $150 billion in 07? What is that today? Price it in M2 would be somewhere around $400. Uranium, and then that's when you get, your 2.5 multiplier. You multiply it against your your 3x. So you're looking at somewhere around a 7.5, 8x there on the low end side. So that's really what I think it's going to be. I think on the low end side, you're looking at a 7-bagger from here, generally speaking, across the broad equities. But it could get as crazy as a 20x, maybe a 30x. But anyways, we have Cameco here. Let's look at Cameco, a $20 billion market cap company. We've surpassed we've already made all-time highs in market cap with Cameco. Okay. Next up is Kazatomprom. Kazatomprom is $11.4 billion market cap and controls for share dilution. So this is important. Let's see. Paladin. Paladin is sitting at 2.46 billion at the peak here in 07. We're at 4.6 billion. So we're about halfway there. So Paladin is about 2x away from making an all-time high with its market cap. It's off by a factor or two. But keep in mind, $4.6 billion in 07 is not $4.6 billion today. You essentially have to triple that number if you're using money supply as any indication of inflation. So that 2x multiplied by a 3, it's a 6x. That's what I think. You're looking at somewhere at a 6x with Paladin. If I were to make a bet. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Gun to my head, if I had to spit out a number, that's what I'd say. Let's see what else. Denizen, that's another popular one. Denizen, sitting at 1.57 billion, 2.68 at the top. So a little over halfway there. A little over halfway there. So I mean, just generally looking at some of these higher cap stocks. This is UUU. UUU is surpassed its levels, and well, actually, it doesn't have its 07 levels. I don't know why it doesn't. If you look at 07 level, it's probably much higher than $9 million. Let's look at Boss Energy. Boss Energy is making all-time highs, but again, it does have its 07 levels. Okay. What else? Deep Yellow. Also at market cap all-time highs. So yeah, I mean, it's all stock selection is key. All right. So we're over an hour now. I'm going to read some of these super chats. Not super chats. You guys don't leave me any super chats. I'm going to read some of these chats. If you want to super chat me, go ahead. I'll definitely read it for sure. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, Big Mike says we still got the Senate vote to ban Russian uranium. On a silver platter says another catalyst we seem to forget today. I think he's referring to the Senate vote. Yep. Russia will likely reciprocate, and then we really do go up. Michael thinks we're just getting started. Let's see what else. On the silver platter says that would be bigger than $100 uranium, blah, blah, blah. All right, what else we got? Adam Gray, especially if they influence Kazakhstan pivot away from the West. Silver Platter says China is seizing most of Kazatomprom production. Yeah, I actually did an episode on that a while back. Adam also says he sees this ending in a bid for the physical funds, yellow cake, and even spot. I'm being very generous reading out all these comments, guys. I feel really good. It's $100 uranium. I'm going to go through all these comments as much as I can, at least. Orano's likely bidder. Silver Platter says, thanks for the analysis. Hey, man, anytime. Thanks for watching. And I think that's it. All right, guys. As always, there's nothing else you want to look at. We're going to close this thing out. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below. Let me know. Do you think this is the actual breakout? Is it for real this time? For real, as the young kids like to say. Also, if you want, you can donate to me by buying me a coffee. The link is down below. And highly recommend Justin use Uranium Insider. If you subscribe to Uranium Insider by clicking on the link down below, you'll also help me out. I am an affiliate with him. And yeah, guys. Hey, Silver Platter. Thank you, man. He says, have a good one. Have a good one, guys. Let's actually take one last look at some of these ASX stocks. How are we doing on the ASX? Did we rebound up yet again, or what? I'm going to look at a bunch of random ones really quick. Bannerman. Rebound. Let's go back to the 1 minute view. Okay, so it's kind of consolidating. What else? Let's look at Paladin really quick. Okay, kind of correcting from the spike up. It's only up 2.95% now. Deep Yellow. See Deep Yellow. Just randomly picking stocks. Okay, Deep Yellow is continuing to move up 6.83%. Good job, Deep Yellow. Let's look at Boss. It's probably the last one. And that's also been consolidating, up 5.88%. Okay. Great job, Uranium. Might do another one of these streams tomorrow if we have another big day. All right, guys. Thanks for hopping on short notice, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.